There is a specific kind of pain that no one warns you about when you start walking with God. It's not the pain of persecution or the struggle of sacrifice. It's the pain of the silence. You've prayed the prayers. You've fasted. You've kept the faith when it was hard to hold. But now, you've reached a point where it feels like your words are hitting a brass ceiling. You ask for a sign, and you get a shadow. You ask for a voice, and you get a vacuum. If you are in that season right now where God feels miles away while your problems feel inches from your face, this video is for you. Today, we're going to look at the 3 hidden reasons why God goes silent, and why your waiting room might actually be God's throne room in disguise. In our modern world, we are addicted to the instant. We want high-speed internet, 30-minute delivery, and immediate answers to our prayers. We've mistaken God's silence for God's absence. But look at the patterns of the Bible. Joseph spent 13 years in a pit and a prison before he ever saw a palace. Moses spent 40 years in the back of a desert before he saw a burning bush. Even Jesus experienced the silence of the Father during his greatest hour of need. Silence is not a sign of rejection. It is a sign of preparation. Think of a teacher during an exam. When is the teacher most quiet? When the students are being tested. The teacher hasn't left the room. They are simply waiting to see if you have learned what they taught you in the previous season. The first reason for the silence is that God is moving from your circumstances to your character. Most of us pray for God to change our situation, but God is often more interested in changing the person in the situation. If God gave you the blessing you're asking for right now, would you have the character to sustain it? Silence forces you to stop relying on goosebumps and start relying on the Word. It shifts you from a faith based on feelings to a faith based on foundations. When you can't hear His voice, you have to trust His heart. The second reason is protection. Sometimes God's no is a not yet, and His silence is a not that way. We see the immediate. God sees the ultimate. We see the closed door as a failure. He sees it as a detour away from a cliff we didn't know was there. There is a story of a man who missed his flight because of a flat tire. He was angry. He was screaming at the sky, asking why God would let this happen. 2 hours later, he learned that the plane he was supposed to be on never made it to its destination. The silence you are experiencing might be the very thing keeping you from a disaster you are unequipped to handle. So, what do you do when the heavens are silent? You don't stop walking. You walk the narrow path. Recall the last instruction. God rarely gives a new word until you've obeyed the last one. Consult the written word. When God is quiet, His book is still loud. Open it. Surrender the timeline. You cannot rush a move of God, but you can certainly miss it by trying to take the wheel. Your waiting is not wasting. It is the gestation period for a miracle. The loudest move of God often follows His longest silence. If you are in a season of silence, don't give up. Don't turn back. You are closer than you think. The dawn is always preceded by the deepest dark. If this message spoke to you today, I want you to do something simple. Comment below. I trust the process. Let it be a declaration to the enemy and to your own soul that you are standing firm. Subscribe to The Narrow Path as we continue to journey through the wisdom of the ages. And remember, He hasn't forgotten you. He's just working in the quiet.